Welcome to Beaver Tracks, a damn good podcast, where we bring you inside the world of OSU and share a behind-the-scenes look at Beaver Nation. I'm Allie Carter, Regional Admissions Advisor for Southern California.
And I'm Craig Bronner, Assistant Director of Admissions at OSU Cascades. Thanks for joining us today.
Today, we are super excited to welcome Emily McDonald Ford, a 2017 graduate from OSU Cascades, for our Alumni Voices series. Emily, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome.
So Emily, tell us a bit about yourself. Are you from Oregon, and what brought you to OSU Cascades?
Great question. Yes, I am a native Oregonian. I grew up in Westland, so just outside of the Portland area. And I knew when I was going to college that I wanted to be somewhere outdoorsy, and I wanted to be able to get a good education, have really good resources in the community of the campus and also just around the area where I was going to school. And so OSU Cascades ended up being a great fit for me because I was able to continue skiing and doing all the things that I loved while getting a great education at OSU.
And what was your major?
My major was social science with a focus in community development and leadership, but I had kind of an unconventional way of getting to my major. I had 5 different majors actually until I finally found my perfect match, but I started with the tourism, recreation, and adventure leadership. I went to human development and family sciences, psychology, then I went to university exploratory studies, and then I ended up in social science. So it was perfect. It kind of blended all of the different things that I tried out, and that ended up being my perfect match.
That's great. And what's interesting, I think, for you is, so OSU Cascades really started in 2001 outside of Central Oregon Community College, but in 2016, that was when they officially opened their first initial buildings. So you really got to experience that transition, and also were one of the first people to really get to utilize the building spaces, right?
Yeah, totally. And I actually worked on the student programming board, which is now called the Events Council here at OSU Cascades. So I got to help plan all kinds of fun events and things. And when I was hired for that job, the building I'm sitting in right now, Tykeson Hall, didn't even exist. And then in the fall, when we opened, I got to come in here with a hard hat and explore around the building before anyone else did with my team. So that was really cool. And just seeing it evolve over time was pretty amazing, because when I started on campus as a freshman in 2013, we were still just at COCC, the community college here in Bend, which was great. And then just seeing all of it evolve into this physical campus space is really special and pretty unique. So I'm thankful for that opportunity.
I like that you were able to sort of see the really early stages of it and what it's grown into now, being back on campus, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So you mentioned things like ski team. What other things were you involved in while you were at Cascades?
So the ski team definitely took up most of my extracurricular time during the winter and fall, just kind of getting ready for it. But then I really got involved with a couple of on-campus jobs. So I talked about the student programming board, which was in the student life office. So that was a lot of fun. And I also was a student ambassador. So being a tour ambassador was a big highlight of my experience. I loved giving campus tours, getting to know people, and just really connecting with new potential Bend Beavs on campus. It was a lot of fun. I always loved our event days, the high energy, just connecting with people who were like me and wanted to just get to know the campus and the community. So definitely those are the biggest things I was involved in when I was here.
And something that's unique for you, Emily, is you were a student and now you're an employee with OSU Cascades. Can you talk about your role?
Yeah, so I am the campus visit coordinator at OSU Cascades, and I'm also an admissions advisor. So I help to manage the student ambassadors, so that the tour team here, which is fun because I've got that previous knowledge myself, but they're definitely the highlight of my role. I get to really work with them and help them develop their craft in giving tours and connecting with students and families. And then I also get to help plan all of the fun events. So if you're a new student looking to come to OSU Cascades, you get to come to campus and visit us and ask questions and connect with different people. And I get to help put those events together. And then, of course, I also am kind of a jack of all trades, getting to fill in and go visit students in different areas every once in a while, doing, visits and things like that. But it's really great. And I started working in the admissions office shortly after I graduated, which was, I believe, in 2018, when I started working in admissions. And then I've been off and on working at the university ever since, and I just really love it. It's my home. I feel very at home working at OSU.
I love that. That makes me really happy.
too.
Yes. So let's kind of go back a little bit and talk about while you were a student at Cascades, what were some of like your favorite places to hang out, study, whether it was on campus or just in Bend in general?
Oh, that's really a good question. When we had our physical new campus space, I wasn't living on campus just yet. I had kind of a weird, unconventional way of living when I was in college. So I had moved off of campus after my freshman year because, I wanted to go and have some independence. And then our new residence hall opened and I wanted to live here. So when I came back to campus, before I moved back into the residence hall, there's this really cool lobby and lounge space that I would go and study and hang out in with my friends who did live in the residence hall. So I would do that a lot. And then, of course, study grounds, our on-campus coffee shop is my all-time favorite place to be. Love coffee, love snacks. It's perfect. There's a great fireplace in the Obsidian Hall, which is where it's located. So I just love being nice and cozy over there, especially when it's snowing. There's big windows and it's just a really great atmosphere to be in. But besides, places to hang out on campus and study, I was around Bend quite a bit. I loved being in the Old Mill District. I loved going and hanging out downtown. I spent most, if not almost all of my time in the winter time up at the mountain, which was the best. And, just finding little pockets of time that I could sneak away and go ski and play in the snow was always a big deal for me. So definitely probably those are my favorite places for sure.
Do you have any favorite memories that you'd like to share? Maybe it was a favorite class or a moment that you had with friends?
So one of my favorite memories, and it's not like super specific, but I got to be on the very first full OSU Cascades Alpine ski team. So you have to have at least 3 members on a team to make what the conference considers a full team. So I got to be a part of the first women's full team that we had here, and that was really special. And one of my teammates is actually now my coworker here at OSU Cascades. Her name is Britt, and we love skiing together still. So that was a really fun memory of just kind of, in the last year or so that we've been working together. It's been fun rekindling our friendship over just memories from ski team and being on campus together and now getting to work together, which is really fun. So that was one of my favorite things was definitely building that, team with her. I was also on the ski team with my brother. So my brother and I were the first bro and sis duo on the ski team. So that was a lot of fun. And we traveled all over the Northwest and the Western US doing races. And it was really cool. And our Nordic team actually has gone to nationals a few times, and they are not super active right now, but there's still a lot of opportunity for growing the ski racing community at our campus. And that's something that I personally am really passionate about is, maybe helping to continue that. But it was really cool to see, this small university putting all these skiers on the map and putting our university on the map and being like, hey, we're a campus from Bend and we're a part of OSU and we're really good ski racers. So that was really cool. And then, gosh, a favorite class, honestly, and this isn't necessarily one class, but in your first term as a tourism, recreation, and adventure leadership major, at least at the time when I started, we had this one term of like a cohort of classes that we took together. So it was like 4 or 5 classes. Everyone was in the same classes together and they were all outside. So no matter what our classes were, whether it was orienteering, working with compasses and maps, wildlife, living skills, out in nature, whether that's building snow shelters or learning how to, use what you have, little materials around you to kind of use for survival. And then also nature and the human experience. And then, of course, wilderness first aid, all of these different things. We all did all those classes together. And so you really got to get close with those people that you were introduced to at the very beginning of my college experience. And I still am in contact with a few of them today, even though I didn't end up in that major. It's just really cool to think back on those memories and just being outside. I remember one day we were taking notes and it was snowing sideways and I was trying to get the hood on my jacket to shelter my little like pen, and and I was like, man, I really need to get like a waterproof setup for note taking. And so that's what I did that afternoon is I went to REI and got that. But just little things like that. Living in the residence hall, I honestly would move back into the residence hall right now if my husband wasn't so against that idea and I was actually a student. It's just really spacious, really fun community. I'm a total extrovert, so I love connecting with all these different people.
I really like hearing about the tourism and recreation major because OSU Cascades is a really cool place to be able to have a major like that. There's so many, I just think about so many campuses in the country who don't have access to those types of resources and those types of outdoor activities. And so I think that's so cool that, even though you didn't end up being a part of that, you got to experience it and learn some things from that really unique program. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. What advice would you give to current OSU students?
So for current students that are already here on campus, I would say not being afraid to get involved is your biggest thing to leverage when you're in college. Just putting yourself out there, even if it means, just signing up for something that is just slightly interesting to you. Maybe you're like, oh, there's a rock climbing night. And that kind of freaks me out a little bit, but it seems interesting. And maybe you just go and watch. Just going and absorbing different communities is what college is all about, and just kind of learning about that. And I honestly feel like that experience and just getting to know different people is just as valuable as your degree itself, because you're really getting to have your eyes open to all different communities and people and walks of life and experience levels and interests and all of these things that really just round you out as a human being. And so not being afraid to just try something new. Like, for example, I didn't really know if I wanted to be an ambassador when I interviewed for the job. And then I walked out of that interview going, wow, that job sounds so much fun. I'm so glad that I actually interviewed for it. And then I ended up loving it. And it was like one of my favorite jobs I've ever had to date. And so just trying something new, and also not being afraid to bring in the things that you love and enjoy and bringing those to other people. So ski team is a great example of that. We were just starting out our ski team at the time here. And so my brother and I, coming in with this interest, we really, found a lot of other people that didn't know that we had that opportunity at the time. And so we got to know a lot of new people that we might not have otherwise, connected with on campus, because, might have just walked down past them in the hallway and realized, oh, this person's interested in ski racing. I never would have known that if I hadn't, shared about it and had an opportunity, for people to come in and connect with people who are interested on ski team, whether that's like setting up a table and being like, hey, we want to start this. We want to do this thing. Just kind of putting yourself out there is a big one. And then for incoming students, I would say, number one, and this is just coming from admissions advisor, Emily, be on top of your things. There's lots of deadlines, there's lots of steps. What I did when I was applying for school was I made a big checklist, like a literal Excel spreadsheet. And it didn't have to be super intuitive. It was literally just dates of things. And I wanted to apply to this school and this school. It was all about, the different deadlines and dates, because they were all different. And I didn't, have the same thing lined up for every single school. Some of them required test scores, so I needed to write in when I needed to have that done. Or some of them required that I needed to write an essay, or some of them required, a letter of recommendation. And just knowing if I've actually done those things and checking them off and keeping it in one space was really helpful for me, because I had a lot of things going on when I was in high school, and not a whole lot of time to get it done. But when I could keep it organized and keep myself on track and myself accountable with using a spreadsheet, that helped me so much. And somewhere in my Google Drive archive, I have that spreadsheet somewhere. It still exists out in the universe. So
how would you say that OSU Cascades has prepared you for your life at post-college?
Oh, man. Okay. Of course, the college experience anywhere that you go is going to give you, your educational experience, your interest-based experience with your major, connecting with people. But I think what's really unique about OSU Cascades, you legitimately get to know almost every single person in your major, all of your professors, you know them by name, and they know you by name, and they really care about your individual success. just a couple weeks ago, I ran into one of my favorite professors, Nick Dahl, at the grocery store in Redmond. And he coaches in the communications department. And of course, I see him around campus every once in a while. But that was a few years ago that I graduated. And he still remembered me. He still remembered, all my interests and wanted to know how I was doing. And it's not that you can't always get that on a larger campus, but I really love that personal one-on-one interaction that you get here in every single class, whether it's your, massive math class that you would need to take, or your, main course in social science that you're just starting for the first time, or your really, really specific course that you're taking later on. You're going to get to know people, and it's just a really nice atmosphere to be connected to a lot of different people because you don't feel lost in the shuffle. And for me, that was really important because I went to a big high school and I felt like some of my teachers didn't really know me, or I felt like I couldn't go up and ask them for help. And so I really loved being in a smaller university experience because I was able to do all those things. That, and I feel like just those experiences of learning how to connect with people one-on-one is so valuable in your professional life and your personal life moving forward. And being in this community, it's very focused on experiential learning. So you're doing a lot of things that aren't just in class or on campus. You're going out in the community and, doing a service learning project, or doing research, or, going and studying abroad. There's so many different opportunities that students are given here to really expand their knowledge and their appreciation for what they're learning, and also just their experience that really prepares you. My experiential learning experience or opportunity was going to, or one of them was going to the juvenile corrections department here in Central Oregon and Bend. So I got to work with the Deschutes County, juvenile corrections facility, and, shadow a bunch of their psychologists and interview them and talk with some of the people that were in the corrections facility and how they help their juveniles get back into the community. And it isn't just like, jail. It's like helping, people to get integrated into society in a productive and meaningful way. And it was really, really unique. I was really interested in law enforcement and criminology throughout my time in the social science major. And I actually had really wanted to go into law enforcement throughout college. And so that was an amazing experience. That's still on my resume today. I still have connections with people over there. And I really love that opportunity that just got me thinking about the things that I'd learned in class and really applying them to a real life scenario.
So we know that you currently work at OSU Cascades, but tell us a little bit about your time between graduation to now. What sort of things have you been up to? You can talk about jobs. You can talk about, anything that you've been interested in or involved in kind of since graduation.
Yes. Oh, well, I have lots of interests. So of course, never would have guessed that by all the different majors that I tried out, but it kind of correlates with my life experience as well. So since graduation, I guess when I graduated in 2017, my first job outside of college was actually being a campus public safety officer. So I was working here at OSU Cascades, and I was helping, plan all sorts of different things with campus safety and cleaning up the natural area around our campus and getting that prepared for all the campus expansion. Honestly, making a lot of just community contacts, like out in the community, but also on our campus, and just connecting people to different resources that we had. So that was a really great experience for me, and totally correlated with my interest in law enforcement. And then I was offered a job in admissions. I had someone approach me and be like, hey, you would be great for this job. It's basically being a student ambassador, only like the next level up. And I was like, well, I really liked that job. That was really fun. So maybe I'll try it out. I love traveling, so I got to travel a bunch, and that was something that really interested me. So I did that from summer of 2018 to, spring of 2021, because the pandemic definitely kind of threw a wrench in my plans. I really missed connecting with people and students. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to pivot and try something different. Of course, being in athletics and being a college athlete, I had always been kind of interested in pursuing something in the fitness and health world. And so I just kind of had an opportunity land in my lap to go and try being a fitness coach at Orange Theory here in Bend. And so I left the university in the spring of 2021 to take a little hiatus, as I like to call it, to go and try something new. And so I went and I was doing that for the last 2.5 years and absolutely loved it and really enjoyed just being in the health and fitness industry and just working with people on different types of goals and just helping them to really like seek their own potential, which is really interesting how those sorts of things are also present in admissions. And so I really enjoyed that. And then there were some pretty cool people on the team here at OSU Cascades that kind of planted the seed in my brain that maybe I should consider coming back. And so I interviewed for the job this summer and now I'm back. And now I actually get to do both, coaching with Orange Theory and also being here on campus. And then as if I didn't have enough on my plate with all of that, I also coach high school ski racing. So I'm the head coach for Corvallis, West Albany, South Albany, Crescent Valley, and Cascade high schools over on the other side of the mountain. So I meet them up at Hoodoo and we train and we race together on weekends throughout the winter. And it's so much fun. And it is super cool to be able to continue ski racing and just that part of my heart while still pursuing all these great things. So that's just kind of like a nutshell of what I've been doing, but I've been doing a lot of other things too. So
Emily, thank you so much for joining us and being part of this and sharing a bit about your journey. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
The only other thing that I would say is, I mean, I'm really biased, but I love OSU. There are so many great opportunities in this community and so many great people here to support you. And I am not the only person that feels as passionate about this place. But I mean, if I ever see you on campus or, you know, at a visit event or anything like that, please come say hello. I would love to meet you and get to know your story. And yes, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be a part of this experience.
Yeah, and if folks do want to visit, since you are the campus visit coordinator, what's the best way that they can coordinate that?
Great question. So there's a lot of different ways that you can reach out to us and learn about our visits. The first one would be checking out our website, which is osucascades.edu/visit. Or you can also reach out to our Welcome Center, our Office of Admissions at osucascades.edu. So feel free to reach out to us if you've got questions. We'd love to see you on campus and have you in for a visit.
Awesome. Thank you. Emily, before we let you go, we have a little segment that we like to do. So,
I think I know
Allie,
what this is.
do you know what time I think it is?
Craig, what time is it?
I think it's time for Oregon State Trivia.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, Emily, Allie has today's question, and
All
once she
right.
reads the question, you
I'm
have
ready.
a couple seconds to collaborate and offer your answer.
Okay.
All right. So a few years ago, researchers over at the Corvallis campus discovered a new blue pigment that was eventually turned into a Crayola crayon. Do you know what the name of that Crayola crayon is?
Oh my gosh, I do know this, but it's blanking in my brain right now. Oh, I thought that, okay, is it something blue? Like, or not like something blue, but is it like blank blue? Oh, I don't remember. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Few more seconds.
I honestly don't remember. I knew this at one time, and now I need to like restudy the Crayola crayons for this very interesting question.
I will say you were very close. You were very close. Allie, the answer?
It's Bluetiful.
Oh God, that's right. Yes.
Mhm.
Dang it. Okay, I had it backwards. If I had blue first, maybe would have gotten it. It's all right. Wasn't an art major. It's all right.
It's okay. Now you can tuck that fun fact away for later.
It's been archived. I've got it.
Perfect.
Emily, thanks so much for joining us. Before we let you go, can we get a big Go Bend Beavs shout out on the count of three?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Go Bend Beavs.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope you can join us for our next episode of Beaver Tracks. It will be a damn good time.